A couple weeks ago, my buddy Paul the Punter posted a shocking video called Why I've Quit Mountain Biking. He detailed his struggles with the sport and why he's walking away. Like everyone else, I was very surprised because I think we all have this concept that if you turn your passion into a job, it's the job you will end up hating, and you'll want to walk away from the job to get back to the passion. But it sounds like Paul got more enjoyment out of the filming, the editing, the YouTubing than the subject matter, the mountain biking. But he does have one more mountain bike video on the way. It's a film. He's been working on it for months. I'm very excited to eventually see it. But Paul's heart is no longer into mountain biking. He actually sold his bikes, which is, that just blew my mind. Because I figure at least, you keep one bike, but to sell all the bikes, that's the real deal. So his revelations and reasons for quitting mountain biking started to make me think a little bit more introspectively about myself, about the sport, and about the job here of being a YouTube mountain biker. And first, if you haven't heard my origin story, I graduated college in 2006. I worked a couple different jobs building websites for 10 years. I basically never had enough vacation time. Eventually, I kind of realized you have to actually build the life you want to live. You can't just fantasize yourself into the life you want to live. So instead of spending most of my free time watching TV, I started making YouTube videos and experimenting with different niches and trying to monetize the content. A few months later, I saw my very first Nate Hills video and I had an epiphany. If you can have crystal clear audio and crystal clear video, riding your bike down a trail, that's a YouTube channel. I worked relentlessly on my mountain bike videos, and I can say without a doubt, 6.5 years later, that I am a very rich man because I have ownership of my time. I can do what I want when I want to do it. Now, financially, you do not qualify as rich if you spend every single dollar you earn and then some. So I still got a little work to do on that. I have turned my passion into my job and made it work. I am still in love with traveling around with my mountain bike, making videos, and inspiring you to do the same. It's very hard for me to imagine a life without mountain biking. The fresh air, the climb, the struggle, the snack breaks, the relief of getting to the top, and the thrill of pointing your bike downhill. Now, don't get me wrong, I probably don't mountain bike as much as you think I do. I didn't ride my bike once during the month of September. I'm human. Sometimes a break is nice. The one thing that Paul was very adamant about in his video is that turning his passion into a job did not kill the passion. Paul also said that it's not mountain biking burnout. And I'm not going to pick apart every single bit and piece, point, counterpoint about the video, but I want to respectfully push back on that one point. I think the common conception of burnout is doing too much or working too hard on something. But the best definition I've ever heard, which really rings true, is that burnout occurs when you put a ton of effort into something, but you don't get the reward you expected. I hope everyone watching this video has done something where they've worked so hard, endless hours, over and over again, but that work was actually satisfying because the reward from all the hard work, all the energy actually paid off. Think about when you start a new hobby. It's just not going to stick unless you put in some effort and get back reward, and put in that effort and get back some reward. Unless your parents force you to do it, and then maybe eventually that cycle starts. But the second they tell you, okay, you don't have to go to piano anymore, you never play piano again, you weren't really on that good cycle. If I think about my past 12 years of mountain biking and even focusing in on my skills, I put in that effort and I get that reward back. It might be way slower than I hope it was. I always feel like, oh man, I wish I could progress so much faster. But little by little, I put the effort in, I get the reward. And that cycle has been pretty harmonious, especially over the past year or two where I feel like my skills are getting better and better. I'm putting in the effort, I'm getting the reward. But if you put this much effort into something and get this much reward, it just feels pointless. It's happened to all of us. That's the story of me and the Rubik's Cube. It's the story of every flamed out passion, and it's definitely the story of being a YouTuber. When you first start making videos, you get the intrinsic reward of doing the work and feeling accomplished. But once you start to get an audience, the reward becomes extrinsic and you're at the mercy of strangers and the algorithm and you hitting the like button right now. As YouTubers, we put a lot of effort and energy and ego into our videos and then we release them out into the world. And when they don't do as good as we think they should, it's a huge, huge mental drain. Part of that is actually being self-aware and admitting to yourself that maybe the video wasn't as good as you thought it was. That's the trap that most YouTubers fall into. The videos just aren't that good. But when you really do put out a video that you think is really good, it just boggles your mind. And if the reward isn't there, you're not gonna put in the effort time after time after time. But the funny thing with Paul is that he's actually getting better and better at YouTube. His videos, his concepts, everything is really dialed in. He's reversed engineered the whole thing. The job of YouTube is actually the thing that he's getting better and better at. It's just the mountain biking that was kind of like, meh. So how does all this measure up to my personal experience? First and foremost, I can't imagine selling my bikes. It's just like the logistics of all the clothes and the shoes and the helmet. What do you do? How do you get rid of it all? But honestly, if mountain biking stopped giving me joy, I would have to quit. It would be too much cognitive dissonance to be on the channel, oh, we're having so much fun, when inside I really hate it. And that's exactly what Paul said. But still, it's so shocking to us as a viewer because we think Paul's identity from top to bottom is mountain biker. That's all we see him as. And I'm sure that's all you see me as, is mountain biker. But mountain biking really isn't at the fundamental core of my identity. It's much more about family. I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a nephew, I'm an uncle. All those things are so much more foundational to my identity. Taking away mountain biker would not have a total implosion of me and myself and cause a crisis. It would definitely cause a crisis of income until I figured out my next thing. This also got me thinking about how being funny, making people laugh, putting people at ease is a really huge core piece of my identity. And if that was taken away somehow, that would really cause a huge existential crisis and I would probably not be able to understand who am I anymore and what's my purpose in life and all these things, where funny is such a huge core piece of me, where it's like, I'm sure for other people, mountain biking or alcoholism or something else is such a core piece of your life. If you took it away, you don't know where you would go. So even though mountain biking really isn't wrapped up in my identity, it's still a huge passion, it's still my job, it's still most of my life. So how do I keep myself from burning out? First and foremost, I always prioritize fun. A fun mountain bike ride always transfers into a fun video. There's no faking it. I have to be very, very skeptical about who I'm riding with, the trail I'm riding on. I am out here chasing the dragon. It has to be good to make a good video. I do not have time to waste a whole day and be like, I guess that's not gonna make a video. That doesn't mean the trails have to be extreme. They just have to be fun. There are plenty of easy trails that are a ton of fun. I love showcasing them on this channel. At this point, it is miraculous that I've ridden in so many different places with so many different people, and 99.9% of the time, it turns into a really fun video. I've gambled and won over and over again. Mountain biking's pretty awesome. But that being said, I am getting more and more jaded as I get better and better on the bike. I need those challenging trails to have more fun. And I know what you're thinking now. Just enjoy the ride, man. You're just lucky to be out there. That's my favorite comment that I see over and over again anytime I critique anything on a trail. And I am grateful. I do a really good job of stopping to smell the roses and take that time to soak things in, to be in the present. But that and $6 will get you a caramel latte at One House Bakery. I have bills to pay. I have a family. I have to keep the general public entertained. This is an endless treadmill. I've got to get a video out and it's got to be good. But that's the deal with the devil that I made. I'm okay with that. I don't have any regrets. As the great Thomas Sowell says, there are no solutions in life, only trade-offs. Entertainment is the most fleeting thing possible, and I'm still amazed that I'm able to get people's attention with everything else that's out there. That Weird Al movie was pretty good, huh? Another point in Paul's video was about the dangers and risks of mountain biking. I am completely amazed that I have not had any catastrophic injuries over the past 6.5 years of making these videos on YouTube, although my thumb is still a little bit jacked up from that crash on Redemption CO number 3. That was like 6 weeks ago, and it's still kind of hurting. Everyone I know who has progressed to the expert level of mountain biker has had some kind of major injury. It's scary, I hate it, but we all know life is filled with danger, whether it's real or perceived. I think what's mostly kept me safe is that I've been on a very slow and steady trajectory of building my skills. If I see a giant drop or a big jump that I can't visualize success on, then I skip it. Even when everyone else is standing around saying, "You got this, Brian, you can do it." If I can't see it in my mind's eye, I'm not doing it. I'm very comfortable being the odd man out. The peer pressure thing just doesn't work. I can say no when I need to say no. I can say yes when I need to say yes. It's the greatest gift that my family has taught me over the years. But of course, I still find places to push a little harder to stretch my comfort zone, because if you don't, you're never going to progress. It's definitely a delicate balancing act, especially now that I'm getting faster and faster, and the consequences are going to be worse and worse if I crash. I still love making these videos. The places I get to see, the people I get to meet, the woman I got to marry, it's all because I took a crazy risk and left the normal world behind. Living the dream! Except for the negative comments. It's still, after all this time, it just hurts. And as the great Ben Harper says, it takes 100 miles of love to heal a mile of pain. And to wrap this all up, I want to truly thank Paul for his contribution to the sport of mountain biking. We will never know the true impact our videos have on people, but you just have to believe there's people out there that saw your videos, Paul, and got off the couch and got healthier and just made a change in their life. And if it was just one person, it's quite amazing. But you gotta think it's been hundreds of people, if not thousands of people. And that is something you should be so proud of. You've been a positive force in so many people's lives, and definitely in my life. Much love to everyone out there. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the trail.